Grant Ellis, the leading guy of The Bachelor Season 29, has already wrapped up filming his season and unveiled his list of the top 10 ladies. Originally from Newark, New Jersey, but currently residing in Houston, Texas, Grant, a 31-year-old day trader, started his Bachelor experience at the mansion with 25 ladies. In addition to giving Alex Godin his first impression, he also gave her the first one-on-one date because of a recent development. Grant was drawn to the women's imaginative limousine arrivals on the night of the launch of The Bachelor Season 29. In the end, he sent home 7 of the 25 women, including Christina Smith, Nay Squires-Horton, Kelsey Curtis, Kylie Henrik, Niecy Baxter, Radhika Gupta, and Savannah Quinn, despite having to make some tough choices at the rose ceremony. These women, including Grant's champion, made it into his top 10. Rose Sonk, a registered nurse from Chicago, Illinois, is 27 years old. On the night of the Season 29 premiere of The Bachelor, she was the first female to get out of the limousine. She asked Grant if he would take this rose in a fun way. Rose blindfolded Grant and made him mold wedding rings out of clay during their one-on-one time together. They kissed each other, too. More people than ever are watching reality TV. These are a few of the top reality TV series available for streaming or viewing at the moment, while there are many more to pick from. Reality Steve claims that Rose self-eliminated from The Bachelor Season 29 before to the 4th rose ceremony, despite the fact that she and Grant appeared to be developing a close bond during that season. Prior to that, Rose took part in one of the earliest R&B-themed group dates in Los Angeles at the Bellwether Theater. There was a competition and the women had to perform rap songs. Rose said that Grant told her on this date that he was just observing her as the other women performed. Rose informed Carolina Sofia Cazano what Grant allegedly said to her after she kissed him during her song and won the competition. Carolina questioned Grant about it because she was unhappy. Rose was then challenged by Grant, who accused her of lying and attempting to destroy his relationships with the other women. The truth: Steve was unsure if the show would air these conflicts. Rose survived till the next week, but she never had a date with Grant and self-eliminated in Madrid, Spain, the week after that. Grant was quite appreciative when Natalie Phillips, a 25-year-old Ph.D. candidate from Louisville, Kentucky, who is pursuing a degree in child psychology, delivered him some worry stones as she entered her limousine on the night of The Bachelor Season 29 premiere. He also enjoyed the breathing technique she showed him during their one-on-one time together. She instructs her patients to blow out their birthday candles and smell the flowers. Reality Steve claims that Natalie attends a basketball game at the LA Athletic Club as part of one of the first Bachelor Season 29 group dates. She got a rose at the second rose ceremony, but when she took part in another group date where 8 of the ladies had to ride a mechanical bull disguised as matadors, Grant finally bid her farewell at the 4th rose ceremony in Madrid, Spain. Regretfully, before Grant said Natalie go, she never had a date with him. Parisa Shifta is a pediatric behavior analyst from Birmingham, Michigan, who is 29 years old. She prepared him a PowerPoint presentation about their future during their one-on-one time on the night of The Bachelor Season 29 premiere. She explained that she and her friends do these presentations whenever they want to catch up. Parisa later expressed concern that Grant didn't appreciate it, even though he appeared to like it. At the first rose ceremony, though, he presented her a rose, which allayed her anxieties. According to Reality Steve, Parisa was one of the 8 ladies that rode the mechanical bull on the group date in Madrid, Spain, after taking part in the basketball group date at the LA Athletic Club. But during the 4th rose ceremony in Madrid, Grant bid her farewell. Prior to his elimination, Parisa was never given a date with Grant. Serafina Watkins, contestant on The Bachelor Season 29, in a promotional photo. Serafina Watkins is a New York-born assistant media director who is 29 years old. She made Grant chuckle on premiere night by bringing a huge cutout of his face and explaining that she was there to support him no matter what, but she didn't want his Bachelor experience to make him conceited. At the first rose ceremony, Serafina was given a rose. The truth: Serafina was among the women that attended the group date to the basketball game at the LA Athletic Club, according to Steve. She got a one-on-one date with Grant when he and the women went to Madrid, Spain, and they went bungee jumping. After that, Serafina reached Grant's last 7 women, and they all went to Edinburgh, Scotland. But just before his dates in his hometown, this is where Grant bid her farewell. The Bachelor contestant for Season 29 promotional photo of Carolina Cazano. Carolina during their first meeting, Sofia Cazano, a 28-year-old public relations producer from Guaynabo, Puerto Rico, made a big impression on Grant by speaking to him in Spanish, which he found difficult to understand. Later, during their one-on-one time, they had a profound discussion about their families, and Carolina started crying as she talked about how much she would miss them after they were gone. In his confessional, Grant expressed his desire to kiss her, but he could sense that she was hesitant to do so. Reality Steve claims that Carolina won the competition and ultimately planted a kiss on Grant after her performance on the R&B singing date. But after the competition, she and Rose got into a fight when Rose told Carolina that Grant had claimed that he was just observing her while the other girls performed. This infuriated Carolina, who went up to Grant. Rose was then charged by Grant with lying and attempting to destroy his relationships with the other ladies. The truth: Steve was unsure if the show would air this. Carolina was among the women who rode the mechanical bull on the group date in Madrid, Spain. After that, she reached Grant's last 7 women and accompanied them to Edinburgh, Scotland. Regretfully, Grant bid Carolina farewell just before his hometown dates, marking the end of her tour. A new twist led to Grant's first one-on-one date with Ellis Godin, a 27-year-old pediatric speech therapist from New Brunswick, Canada, and his first impression. On the night of The Bachelor's premiere, Ellis brought a live llama named Linda to the Bachelor mansion, introducing her as her no-drama llama. Because Ellis is French-Canadian, she taught Grant how to speak French during their one-on-one time together. Then they kissed each other. They shared another kiss when Grant decided to give her the first impression rose. Reality Steve claims that Grant sang to Ellis at a piano during their one-on-one date in Los Angeles. Ellis spent the most time riding the mechanical bull during the group date in Madrid. After that, she was named one of Grant's top 7 women and accompanied him to Edinburgh, Scotland. Regretfully, Grant bid her go at this time and did not offer her a date in her hometown. Dina Lupencu is a Chicago, Illinois-based lawyer who is 31 years old. Dina joked that her ring size was 6 as she entered her limousine, telling Grant that she was constantly complimented on having lovely hands. Taylor, Grant's older sister, stopped Grant and Dina as they were sitting down for some alone time. But Dina impressed Grant so much that at the first rose ceremony, she was given a rose. Reality Steve claims that during the R&B singing group date, Dina indulged her sensuous side. She was given a one-on-one date in Madrid, Spain, where she and Grant visited a store where individuals may send love letters that are meant to be fulfilled. Grant also played soccer with little children on the street. After Dina made it to Grant's top 7 women, she traveled to Edinburgh, Scotland, where he presented her with a rose, signifying that she had been given a date in her hometown. On October 17, 2024, Dina's hometown date was taped in Chicago. Sadly, Dina was not given an overnight fantasy suite date in the Dominican Republic since Grant bid her farewell at the rose ceremony following the hometown dates. Grant's season got off to a great start when Zoe McGrady, a 27-year-old model and tech engineer from New York, New York, presented a t-shirt gun full of t-shirts featuring Grant's and her faces. "Every great couple needs merch," she told Grant. To the surprise of the other women, Zoe and Grant threw the t-shirts into the courtyard of the Bachelor mansion. Later, when they were alone together, they shared a kiss. During the basketball group date at the LA Athletic Club, Zoe caused some trouble, according to Reality Steve. There was a competition or exercise at the start of the date. Some of the other women were irritated with Zoe because she spent a lot of time with Grant when it was her turn. She spent a lot of time with him, but twice more she snatched Grant away from the other women. Allie Jo Hinks and Zoe got into a heated disagreement over this. Intriguingly, Reality Steve disclosed that he had heard that Zoe received a hometown date but never had a one-on-one date during the season. On October 13, 2024, Zoe shot her hometown date in New York. She was then selected as one of Grant's top 3 women, earning her a Dominican Republic overnight fantasy suite date. But regrettably, this was where Grant bid Zoe farewell. During season 29 of The Bachelor, Grant's runner-up was 31-year-old Salt Lake City, Utah venture investor Lisha Gar. She told Grant she didn't know anything about basketball when she got into her limousine, but he said he could always teach her. She then offered him a glittering silver basketball and said she would strike a bargain with him, saying that if he brought the skill, she would supply the shine. According to Grant, they would be called Sparkle and Skill. In their one-on-one time together, Lisha expressed her admiration for Grant's emotional intelligence. He gave her the first rose at the rose ceremony, and they kissed. Reality Steve claims that Lisha took part in the R&B singing group date and then went to a dog rescue shelter the next week for another small group date, where she was given the group date rose. Reality Steve was uncertain about some of the dates in Edinburgh, Scotland the following week, but Lisha went on the mechanical bull riding group date in Madrid, Spain. Although he made it clear that he had heard that Zoe might not have received a one-on-one date, he did not disclose that Lisha had received one in Edinburgh. Grant did, however, offer Lisha a hometown date, and the filming took place in Wyoming on October 15, 2024. Then he picked her for a Dominican Republic overnight date in the Fantasy Suite. Despite having chosen Lisha as one of his final two ladies, she ended up being his runner-up at the final rose ceremony, and Grant regrettably did not select her. Juliana, a 28-year-old Newton, Massachusetts-based client support representative, is currently engaged to Grant. Juliana celebrated her Italian ancestry by eating a cannoli with Grant Lady and the Tramp style on the night of the Bachelor Season 29 premiere. Juliana played the piano for Grant during their one-on-one time together, and they kissed. Reality Steve claims that although Juliana took part in the mechanical bull and basketball group dates in Madrid, Spain, she ultimately had her one-on-one date in Edinburgh, Scotland. The date was a Pretty Woman date, where the lead takes the woman shopping for clothes before taking her out for the evening. After that, Grant gave Juliana a hometown date, and the movie was shot in Massachusetts on October 11, 2024. Grant picked Juliana for an overnight fantasy suite date in the Dominican Republic following their hometown date. Juliana accepted Grant's proposal during the Dominican Republic's last rose ceremony. At the moment, they are engaged. Unfortunately, a number of women had to be eliminated in order for Grant to select his top 10 Bachelor Season 29 women. The number of women that received the season's first kiss on premiere night was reduced from 17 to 14 after Grant sent home Gupta, Ella Del Rosario, Rebecca Garrett, and Vicky during the second rose ceremony. Grant bid Ali Joe, Bailey Brown, and Costello farewell at the third rose ceremony. Earlier that week, Beverly Ortega had left the show for medical reasons. Only 10 ladies remained as a result. During season 29 of The Bachelor, Grant had to make some extremely difficult choices, but it's great to know that he found his happily ever after with Juliana. It's wonderful that he is now engaged to Juliana because he has stated that becoming a spouse and father is his life's purpose. After season 29 of The Bachelor, perhaps, Grant and Juliana will be able to fulfill all of their ambitions together. Grant Ellis was no stranger to the pressures of being in the spotlight. A successful entrepreneur with a growing tech company, he had lived his life in the public eye for years. However, when the producers of The Bachelor approached him, it was not a decision he made lightly. He had built a reputation for being a man of integrity and ambition, but he knew that stepping into the world of reality television would come with its own set of challenges. Grant had always been the kind of man who preferred deeper connections over superficial ones. He had lived through the highs and lows of dating in the digital age, countless failed relationships and fleeting flings that never quite lasted. But he wanted something real, and that desire was what ultimately drove him to accept the role of The Bachelor. As the season began, viewers were introduced to a diverse group of women who were vying for Grant's heart. Some were instantly recognizable, known from previous reality TV appearances or social media fame. Others were less familiar but had something unique about them that stood out in the crowd. From the very first night, it was clear that Grant would have his hands full. The women were not only stunning but also full of character, each bringing a different kind of energy to the mansion. It wasn't just about physical attraction or first impressions anymore. This season, it seemed, Grant was looking for something deeper, something that resonated with him on an emotional and intellectual level. And as the weeks progressed, the top 10 women became an ever-evolving mix of surprising choices, with some completely shattering the stereotypes viewers had expected. At the start of the season, many of the show's die-hard fans had already placed their bets on the women they thought would make it far. Among the early favorites were Amanda Lee, a charming model with a large social media following, and Chloe Hamilton, a charismatic entrepreneur with a bubbly personality. Both women seemed to fit the typical mold of the Bachelor contestant, beautiful, outgoing, and quick to form strong connections with the Bachelor. Amanda's allure was evident from the first rose ceremony, where she made an impact by gifting Grant a small token from her fashion line, an act that garnered instant favor. Her confidence was palpable, and it seemed as though she and Grant had an undeniable chemistry from the start. However, as the season progressed, it became clear that her focus was not just on building a relationship with Grant but also on securing her place in the limelight. Grant, despite his admiration for Amanda, began to see through the veneer of perfection she projected, and doubts